What if this world, with its cities and oceans, its wars and weddings, its sunrises and sirens, isn't life, but the afterlife? Imagine this. You die. There is no tunnel, no choir, no darkness, just a seamless transition, a breath, and then you are here. Born into a body with no memory of what came before, a childhood carefully constructed, parents, language, history books, a planet with a past stretching billions of years. What if none of it is the first chapter? What if it's the second, or the 1000th? The idea sounds absurd at first. We define the afterlife as something that follows death, heaven, hell, judgment, transcendence. But what if the true afterlife is not a distant realm of clouds or fire, but a reset, a continuation under new rules? Think about it. If consciousness can exist at all, if awareness can arise from matter, then perhaps it can arise again and again. Not necessarily through reincarnation in the mystical sense, but through a deeper principle, that consciousness is not produced by the brain, it is received by it, like a radio entering a signal. When the radio breaks, the signal doesn't die, it simply stops playing there. If that were true, death wouldn't be an ending, it would be a channel change. And this world might be the next broadcast. Consider the strangeness of reality itself. Why does anything exist rather than nothing? Why are the laws of physics finely tuned for complexity, chemistry, and life? Why does the universe allow not only matter, but meaning? If this were the afterlife, perhaps its purpose isn't comfort. Perhaps it's refinement, growth, experience. In many religious traditions, the afterlife is described as a place of learning, purification, or testing, a realm where the soul confronts itself. Now look at this world. It is beautiful, but difficult. Joy exists, but so does suffering. Love and loss, triumph and failure. What if this tension isn't random? What if it's intentional? Not punishment, not reward, but transformation. You don't remember choosing this life, but what if forgetting was necessary? If you knew this was the afterlife, every action would be distorted, every choice calculated, every risk artificial. But if you believe this is the only life, your choices are real, authentic, weighted. Perhaps memory is erased not as cruelty, but as design, to make the experience genuine. There are moments that feel strangely familiar, déjà vu, unexplainable fears, immediate connections with strangers. Some dismiss them as neurological glitches, but what if they are echoes, fragments of a previous existence, Or something even stranger. What if this world is not an afterlife in the sense of coming after death, but coming after a different form of existence entirely? Imagine a reality before this one that is incomprehensible to the human mind, a state without time, without separation, without individuality, pure awareness. And what if entering this universe, with its bodies and boundaries, is the after effect of leaving that state? A descent into limitation, a narrowing. Perhaps infinity cannot experience itself without contrast, so it fragments into perspectives, into lives, into you. This world would then be the afterlife of unity, the place where consciousness experiences separation, and through separation discovers love, discovers meaning, discovers itself. Look at how strange life already is. You are a collection of atoms forged in ancient stars, arranged into molecules, organized into cells, forming tissues, becoming a body, generating a mind that can question its own existence, matter that wonders why it exists, Is that not already miraculous enough to feel like something beyond ordinary reality? And consider this. If this is the afterlife, perhaps death here is not an end either. Perhaps it is another transition, another shift, another layer peeling away. We assume linearity, birth, life, death. But what if existence is layered?
Like nested worlds, each reality feeling ultimate to those inside it, until it isn't. Near-death experiences often include reports of intense clarity, overwhelming love, a sense of returning home. What if that home is not ahead of us, but behind us, and this world is what came after leaving it? A step outward, a movement away from something more fundamental. But why would we leave? Perhaps because stillness becomes stagnant. Even perfection may seek experience. Even eternity may crave change. And so consciousness dives into limitation, into gravity, into time, into flesh, to feel, to struggle, to forget. And through forgetting, to rediscover. What if suffering is not evidence of abandonment, but of immersion? In a story you once agreed to enter, not as a victim, but as a participant. This would mean that every encounter matters, every kindness echoes, every cruelty shapes. Because this world would not be random, it would be formative. The afterlife would not be reward or punishment, it would be process. We often imagine the afterlife as static, fixed, final. But what if the true eternity is dynamic, an endless unfolding, world after world, perspective after perspective, growth without ceiling? In that framework, fear of death shifts. It becomes less of a cliff and more of a doorway, not necessarily into bliss, but into continuation. And perhaps the reason we cannot prove any of this is precisely because we are meant to inhabit the uncertainty. Faith, doubt, curiosity, these may be features, not flaws. If this is the afterlife, its rules are subtle. No glowing gates, no obvious judges, just consequences woven into reality itself. Cause and effect, action and response, learning embedded in experience. And maybe the most compelling clue is this: we already live as if something continues. We care about legacy, about impact, about meaning beyond our own lifespan, as if some deeper intuition whispers that existence does not end, it transforms. What if the greatest twist is not that heaven awaits us, but that we are already inside the continuation, already in the next chapter, already living beyond a death we do not remember? If that were true, then the question changes. It is no longer, is there life after death? But what kind of existence did we come from, and what are we becoming now? Maybe one day when this life ends, awareness will expand, memory will return, and we will look back at Earth the way we look back at childhood: intense, confusing, beautiful, necessary. And we will realize this was never the beginning, it was never the end, it was the in-between, and we were never lost, only becoming.